the man knew full well that the child in his wife's arms was not his, but he still made a solemn promise that when the child grew up, he would leave all of his wealth to the child. It turns out that during his wife's pregnancy, the man had unknowingly witnessed an intimate moment between her and her first love. They even secretly planned to have the man raise the child so that the child could inherit his family fortune. After learning all of this, the man decided to act in the opposite way. For 8 years, he secretly started transferring company assets overseas, and now the company in his home country had gradually turned into an empty shell. Once he completed all of this, the man still felt it wasn't enough, so he asked his secretary which projects were likely to encounter problems. When he found out that land in the west of the city was going to be developed into a cemetery and crematorium, the man immediately decided to have his secretary handle the project. On his son's birthday, his wife's first love arrived with gifts and casually sat down at the table. When his mother-in-law and brother-in-law saw this, they immediately started mocking the man, teasing him for always being busy with work and neglecting his child. The man smiled faintly and didn't care. The first love then emphasized that this was indeed the man's child. Hearing this, the man coldly smiled and said the first love cared more for the child than he did. Otherwise, others might really think the child belonged to the first love. Upon hearing this, the first love suddenly felt guilty, and the wife hurriedly adjusted herself, inviting the man to sit down and eat. At the dinner table, the wife casually began recommending the first love, saying he was a capable person and wanted the man's help in starting a business. This immediately made the man happy inside, and he took the opportunity to present the project he had just taken over, saying that if they built a luxury apartment complex on that land, it would definitely make a huge profit. Hearing the man's grand vision, the first love felt like the opportunity for wealth was right before him. The man then proposed that if the first love wanted to invest, he must invest fully. At first, the first love wasn't happy with this, but when the man mentioned the possibility of earning 10 billion, greed immediately flashed in everyone's eyes. The first love immediately started signaling the wife, and sure enough, she began pleading with her husband to give the project to the first love. Little did they know, the man had already anticipated all of this, and without hesitation, handed over the project, and the greedy outcome would lead to their own downfall. 10 years passed in the blink of an eye. The man's company abroad had grown larger and larger. Over these 10 years, the first love didn't disappoint, building a luxury residential complex on a piece of useless land. Now, the man's son was returning home, and the man immediately decided to carry out a thorough reckoning with his greedy family. On the day of his son's coming-of-age ceremony, the wife and the first love were still celebrating, thinking their plan was about to succeed. When the man handed over the stock transfer contract to his son, everyone had their own thoughts. The wife had already prepared to kick the man out as soon as the shares were transferred. After the signing and stamping, the woman joyfully welcomed her son, thinking the billion-dollar company was now hers. Little did she know, the company her son inherited was actually a hollow shell, burdened with hundreds of billions in debt. Seeing that her plan was about to succeed, the woman wasted no time, releasing the evidence she had prepared, accusing the man of betraying the marriage and having a close relationship with his female secretary. But the photos she released only showed the man and secretary in